Hi, everybody. Is the cold better? A little bit. Do I look like I'm about to fall asleep? I know, I do. Hi, everyone. Come on in. Say hello. 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 Hi, everybody. What's going? First to join. Hi, Miss Senator Sanctuary. I know you said to sit my butt down tonight, but because I don't listen to anybody. That's one of the reasons why I'm still single. I set my own rules. So very hot here in Houston. I can imagine, Miss Geraldine. How are you? Okay, wait, what's the glasses? Hi everyone. Happy Thursday. Is it just me or does today feel like a Tuesday? Or is it just me? Okay, now I can see. Move closer. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I'm feeling much better compared to Tuesday, so that's a good thing. Happy Thursday, everyone. Come on in. Say hello when you come on. Let's know what state, what city, what country you're joining in from. Welcome to the most. What does Miss Secretary say? 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. How are you? Hello, Miss Peggy. It's just me. It's just me. It feels like a Tuesday for real. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe because my son TJ just started 10th grade today. I can't believe my baby boy is a sophomore in high school. To the most positive immigration space on social platforms, safest space to celebrate immigration victories and ask questions about new policies with this lady right here. Hi, everyone. This is Attorney 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. I'm an immigration attorney. Happy Thursday from Dallas. Thank you. Today feels like Friday. It feels like a Tuesday to me because I was, trash pickup day for my subdivision is Fridays, right? And I was asking the boys, it's like, are we because I have no city. I don't wait it in the morning. I put it out the night before. I was like, are we supposed to put it out tonight or it's late Tuesday? And we're both looking at me like, girl, mama, girl. Like that's in your own world. But anyway, this is Anthony Abisala Adebo. Amen. I'm an immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. If you've got an immigration case that we handle, case types vary. Most of the immigration case types we do, some we don't, select a few. But contact our office, 334-341-4475. Visit our website at olalayalawfirm.com. Same number on WhatsApp. We do not take calls on WhatsApp, but it's strictly for our text messages. So, but Lydia, who helps us with the WhatsApp, text, social media stuff, usually is up till late with WhatsApp text and all that. Subscribe, follow, share, like at Olalaya Immigration on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. Okay, y'all translate that to English. I had a conversation with someone and this morning he said something. I was like, miss me with that one. See, Melissa, you're about from time to time. But when it comes to serious, like we're saying a whole lot of sentences and, like more than one paragraph, you got to switch it over to English because my dad would say, I've been Mama, sorry, you're Baba Moibo. Nothing against Moibo. I'm just saying what my dad used to say. Just me. But anyway, come on in. Welcome. We are a group of immigrants who come together on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone, and every other place. I don't know. You got to figure it out on your own because I don't know if you live in Mountain Time or Pacific Time, whatever it is. All dressed up. Where's the party? I'm not dressed up. I went to work. You got to show up for yourself. I was feeling myself this morning because I was like, I don't know. So there's some days you just wake up and you really want to really dress, right? Those days don't really. Thank you. Those days are not very many, because I am the girl who lives in tank tops and baggy sweatpants. Believe it or not, I've said it several times. I used to be a tomboy. I still have those tendencies very, very much. Um, so give me a tank top and baggy sweatpants, I'm good. But some days I'm like, yeah. And then I had some in office meetings to this. I had to look decent. I'm like, okay. But anyway, let's talk immigration, y'all. If you are just joining us for the first time, what we usually do is go through what we're going to talk about, whatever the topic is, and if there's enough time, we get to questions. And so I need to thank you. We need to talk about something really, really serious tonight. So, which is probably the number one reason why AOS, marriage-based cases for Nigerians, are denied. And you already know it's the good old Nigerian divorce decree from the High Court of Lagos, High Court of your state, High Court of, and whatever high court you've gone to get it. Let's talk about that. And it's getting it. I get for because I am that attorney who, and I'm sure a lot of colleagues of mine are like that. I don't like to lose. It doesn't make you lose, but I want to win. I want to win, and I want to win all my cases. It's not possible. I'm to know me to know I don't do easy cases. If I have a consult with you, I've been known to tell people, hey, God's favorite. I've been known to tell people who consult me, like, you know what, you really don't need my services for this. You can easily do it online yourself. That's because I ain't gonna. I'll take your money for when you pay me, but I got to go to bed at night and sleep. So if you don't have to pay me for something I know is very straightforward, unless you just want an attorney to take care of it, that's different. But so I don't take easy cases. That's just me. But I love to win. And in winning, you have to make sure that your documentation is accurate. So that brings me to what we need to talk about today, right? Nigerian divorce decree epidemic. Nigerian divorce decree epidemic. If you are someone if you're a Nigerian, Abiola, thank you for joining from Chicago. If you're Nigerian, you've got a pending marriage case or VAWA case. That's one of my clients that we haven't received the notice, but I think that will be the reason why his VAWA was denied, and it's very, very frustrating because then you've got every other criteria that you've met. You've got the good faith, you've got the shared residence, you've got good moral character, you've got the abuse. But if the qualifying relationship is not satisfactory to USCIS, then it doesn't matter how credible your case is. You didn't have a qualifying relationship to start with, so there's nothing they're going to approve it on. So let's talk about this. Yes, this is all your friends that came from Nigeria, and then you got a visa together with your spouse, you had a family interview, and then you omitted to tell the embassy that you were right in the middle of a divorce, or and it was a vacation because that's basically issues. If I hear that sentence one more time, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. And remember, me so issues that you need to tell them, just leave it alone. Just find something else. Any issues are okay. Let's come to the US. Maybe we can one day reconcile. We already know you ain't going to reconcile at that moment because what y'all already started divorce. You already know you ain't reconciling nowhere. But if you now have the divorce, please understand that USCIS now, as far as they're concerned, Nigerians are people who a case went out today, and part of the brief part of the information or the argument in my brief was because my client is Nigerian doesn't automatically make him a fraudster. Because you kind of call, I don't know how whoever's going to read that, but I was just frustrated. So let's try to help ourselves before we even get to filing the case. Let's start with that. So if and another thing, hey, Epic Movement, our birthday is exactly 2 weeks from today. Oh, that's true. Just hit me. My birthday is actually 2 weeks. I mean, anyway, one of the things that the consult I have today, his spouse his former spouse has her green card. She got her green card in 2020. He has an issue with his divorce decree now. That's the same divorce decree that the spouse used to get the green card, that USCIS has now turned around to question the validity of that document. And you say, Sister Lara, why? That's because prior to 2020, 2021, it didn't really matter. I would tell you, I couldn't tell you what the Nigerian divorce decree was supposed to look like from the High Court, whatever, prior to all these issues with USCIS, with noise and RFs. I couldn't tell you because, I'm expecting that if I give you a checklist, you're going to give me the accurate document that I need, that you got from the court. If you have a statutory divorce, we're not talking customary court today, we're not talking Islamic. But until it became an issue, that's when I said, you know what, I've got to take time to educate myself so that, yes, the cases that have already been filed, there's nothing we can do about those. The cases we're about to file, then let's do something about that. So for every single consult that anyone has with me, a potential client has with me, and it's marriage-based, one of the questions you're going to hear me ask you is about your previous your marital history. If you've ever had anything close, remotely close to a Nigerian High Court decree, I am looking at those documents before I even accept representation. Now, I don't authenticate documents, but I've seen so many issues to be able to identify what USCIS has an issue with. And if it doesn't conform to what the reciprocity schedule says or what the Matrimonial Causes Act says. So this is the best time before you file, have your make sure your documents are accurate. So let us dissect the Nigerian High Court divorce decree. I'm not talking about customary, they've even started with that, but let's leave that for another day. Nigerian High Court decree. If you, hey mama, my mom is on. If you got married in a registry in Nigeria, you know those Ikoyi registry, Kiniko registry, then that means that you are going to be getting your divorce in a registry, in high court. It does a civil marriage. That's the court that has jurisdiction over your type of marriage for dissolution, right? Let me back up a little bit. If it is possible for you to not have your divorce done in Nigeria, especially if you have acquired enough residency proof in the states you live in the United States, there's absolutely no reason to go back to Nigeria and file for divorce. So let's start with that. Let's start with domicile. And if you're just joining us, tell anyone who's had, it's the number one, qualifying relationship is the number one reason for denials in VAWA petitions. Let me repeat that. The number one reason why VAWA petitions are denied when it comes to Nigerians is lack of qualifying relationship, meaning they're saying your divorce document you submitted from Nigeria as proof of termination of your previous marriage to your Nigerian spouse. We are saying it's not genuine. And if it's not genuine, you don't have a qualifying relationship. And if you don't have a qualifying relationship, then we cannot approve your VAWA case. So when you have a divorce from Nigeria, so we're at the point where you've done your divorce in Nigeria, you want to know if it's good enough before you move forward in your case. And this also applies for, and like I said, I have cases where I've seen those photos. I'm like, we need the miracle, really. So number one, domicile. If you are the petitioning spouse in a high court divorce in Nigeria, meaning you are the petitioner, you're the one who filed the divorce proceedings, the law meaning the Nigerian Matrimonial Causes Act requires that you are domiciled in Nigeria at the time that you file the petition. What does that mean? That means that your permanent residence was in Nigeria when you initiated the divorce proceedings. If you have been in the United States for like 2 years, and then the date that your divorce was initiated is 2 years after you've been in the United States, and you know that you've not left the U.S. because you've overstayed your visa and you don't have an advanced parole, but then you present a document to USCIS saying you as a petitioner, you're the petitioning spouse, that you were domiciled in Nigeria, you're going to have a hard time explaining to USCIS how you were domiciled in Nigeria at the time you filed the divorce complaint if you haven't left the United States for the last 2 years. It's 2 plus 2 equals 4. That's just straightforward math. That's another thing. So they're going to dissect your Nigerian divorce decree. So if you're not domiciled, please understand, and you were the petitioning spouse, it's a big bag in here. That's it, right? That's number one. That's domicile. Let me do this. Nigerian divorce episode. Let me do. I'm going to put. So the first thing we talked about is domicile. You can tell them I'm really passionate about it because I'm just tired of getting these RFPs about qualified relationship. At the end of the day, you're going to have to pay me for my service. But I always put it in my contract when I know like this doesn't look good. And if you want to proceed, then I'm going to have the initial and that you understand it's not looking good. And then we're going to leave the rest in God's hands because he's done some miracles on divorce decree cases. And I'm like, okay, that's beyond my power. But for the majority of cases, it ends up being denied. All right. So domicile. This is meaning the petitioning spouse has to be physically residing in Nigeria at the time you file the divorce complaint. You cannot be in the United States, you've never left, and then claim that you were domiciled in no. And it's not about your lawyer representing you. Your lawyer can represent you if you're the respondent or represent you after you have filed. But when you say you were domiciled, which is the requirement of the High Court decrees, then you cannot claim to be domiciled in Nigeria when you've never left the United States. So that's domiciled. So next thing we're going to talk about is the suit number. Suit number is basically how it should be with your Nigerian divorce documents. Normally, let me add this to it. So an example will be something like this. And so if you're not on TikTok, on Facebook and YouTube, you may want to switch over so you can see what I'm doing on my screen. So I can put this, let's see, 203, 2016. Okay. So this would be an example of a suit number. That's the wrong one. Okay. A suit number in a Nigerian divorce decree. So this, can somebody let me know that you can see my screen as I'm changing that? One of the issues that USCIS has about Nigerian divorce decrees is that your suit number doesn't tally with what the MCA means Matrimonial Causes Act, what it says. This will be the example of what a suit number on a high court decree, NICE decree absolute should look like. I've seen so many where this WD will be the beginning of the suit number, but that's not how it should be. So this basically means, for instance, this example means okay, Lagos division, and then the W in the suit number means wife. So the wife is the petitioning spouse. If the husband is the petitioning spouse, then he would say 203 HD. H meaning for husband, W meaning for wife. Then it would have the full year at the end of the suit number. If it has just 16, meaning abbreviated to 16, that's usually not how. That's a red flag for USCIS. So that's suit number issue. Now, let's talk about, so the next thing I want to bring about is, so your suit number should look something like this. If it does not, if it starts with WD or HD, even if your former spouse used that same divorce document to get their green card or to become a citizen, which is still happening till tomorrow, field offices are different. You may be lucky to use the same divorce document your spouse used in one field office. You get your green card. Your ex-spouse goes to another field office in another state. They get annoyed for the same divorce document. I see that almost on the regular, including today. So that is something that you should be aware of. All right. Next thing is ground for divorce. Ground for divorce. So for Nigerian high statutory divorces, high court divorce, your ground for divorce has to be one of the 8 listed grounds in the MCA, but it also will start with the marriage has broken down irretrievably due to, then it will list one of the reasons. Not all the time will it list the reason, but the main ground, it should be irretrievable breakdown of marriage, or it has broken down irretrievably. One red flag USCIS always comes back with is when your ground for divorce says marriage has broken down due to irreconcilable differences. That's not a ground for statutory divorce in Nigeria. It's not in the MCA. That's usually a red flag. So that's ground for divorce. Next thing we're going to talk about is, let's see, I'll put it here. So we talked about domicile, we talked about suit number, the ground for divorce, leave of court. Let me talk about leave of court. What does this mean? Leave of court basically is saying permission from the court. If you got married statutorily in Nigeria, right? For you to be able to get a divorce in a statutory marriage, meaning you got married in registry or church and it was registered with the marriage registry, for you to be able to get married, to get divorced, then and file a complaint without the leave of court, then your marriage must be at least 2 years. You must have been married for at least 2 years prior to filing your divorce complaint. If you have not been married for at least 2 years prior to filing the divorce complaint, then the MCA requires that you must have what we call a leave of court. Leave of court basically means that you're getting permission from the court to get a divorce. And the court must give you that permission before you file the divorce complaint. If the decree 𝐸𝐈 usually has to state the date that you got married to your ex-spouse. If the date that is listed on your decree 𝐸𝐈 is less than 2 years from the date you filed the divorce, it is a red flag. You're going to get an RFE. You're going to get annoyed. It has to be at least 2 years. If it's less than 2 years, you must get a leave of court. So that is leave of court. Next thing, let's talk about days between 𝐸𝐈 and absolute. Let me make sure I'm spelling this correctly. Okay, so the law in the MCA requires that when the court enters the decree 𝐸𝐈 order, then you must have at least 90 days between the date of the decree 𝐸𝐈 and the date of decree absolute. So if it is 89 days, you're going to get an RFE, you're going to get annoyed. It cannot be less than 90 days. They will sometimes they'll come back and say, well, it was signed on day 90. The absolute was signed on day 92. We've argued that that's relevant because even the MCA says it doesn't have to be an exact 3 months. So usually, it actually says 3 months, not even 90 days. So it has to be 3 months, and by calculation, you go 90 days. If it is 89 days, anything less than a complete 90-day, 3-month window, that's going to be a problem. So if you have a decree 𝐸𝐈 date that says January 1st, 2024, and then your decree absolute says February 20, 2024, obviously that's less than 90 days, and that is not something that will come from a high court in Nigeria, unless you're going to make an argument that somebody made a typographical error. Good luck with that. All right, so days between 𝐸𝐈 and absolute has to be at least 90 days. That is the requirement in the high court divorce decree 𝐸𝐈, decree absolute. Now, this is another thing that has become children and section 57 order. This is one case today. That was one of the things that USCIS flagged. When you have a statutory divorce in Nigeria, and all this video is going to be off, so you can go back on it and look at the points. So if you haven't filed anything, you're in the best position you can be before you submit anything. Just have someone. I have a guy that I refer my clients to, Barrister Chichi, back in Nigeria. He practiced family law because I don't practice there anymore. I'm still licensed in Nigeria, but I don't practice. So, but when I see something that stands out as a concern, I just email them like, hey, listen, I'm going to refer someone to you. What can we do about this? Children and section 57 order. So your decree 𝐸𝐈, whenever you file for divorce in Nigeria, meaning high court, and we're talking strictly of high court divorce, and you had minor children, meaning children under the age of 21, because 21 is the age of majority in Nigeria, the children must be included in your decree 𝐸𝐈. That is the requirement. Your children's names must be included in your decree 𝐸𝐈. That's one part. After the names are included in your decree 𝐸𝐈, then on the decree absolute, there has to be a date under paragraph 2, that's, the date of order under section 57 is, I'm paraphrasing, it has to be the same date that your decree nisi was entered, because that is the same date that the custody was determined, was finalized with a decree nisi. If you've got children listed on your decree nisi, minor children, you have the full name, you have the date of birth, all of that, and then your decree absolute on the section, the paragraph 2 order on the section 57 now states non-applicable, which is very common. That's a yellow flag and red flag and blue flag, all kind of flags all in one, because that specific paragraph references the date that custody determination was made in the decree nisi. So if the court has custody determination on the nisi regarding custody of the children of the date in the decree nisi, then it's impossible for you to now have non-applicable. I'm telling you, non-applicable under that paragraph 2 order under section 57. Not applicable is for those that do not have minor children that were included in the decree nisi. So you're saying not applicable is contradictory to you saying you have minor children. So that's another red flag with USCIS. And like I said, it has to be the same date with your decree nisi. So let's see. So suit number, domicile, ground for divorce, minimum number of days. Oh, another thing. That's good. So leave of court, section 57. And the last thing to talk about on this is, let's see, place of marriage. Okay, place of marriage. Your decree nisi usually would have, so the marriage that was conducted or celebrated between, Mr. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕 and Mrs. 𝐾𝐢𝐫, and Mrs. Sisson Lawyer, on so and so dates in 2009 at, Ikoyi registry, Lagos Island registry. Is hereby now, due to reason yada yada yada, dissolved by reason that the marriage is working out irretrievably. Yeah. So the place where you had your marriage is required to be included in your decree nisi. If you have a decree nisi that says your marriage was celebrated in a mosque, right? Or your marriage was celebrated according to Islamic law, or that your marriage was celebrated in accordance with customs and tradition, and you present a high court decree, that is 200 red flags all in one. Because that what you've just told USCIS is, I'm submitting a divorce decree from the high court. However, the high court does not have jurisdiction to dissolve an Islamic marriage or customary marriage. That's not their jurisdiction. So if that's what your nisi says, the way it was celebrated, then you have no business presenting a decree nisi, decree absolute to USCIS as proof of termination of your Islamic and or customary marriage. So these are just a few things that USCIS points out in the Nigerian divorce decree, so that you are, I didn't even put that. So this is place of marriage is the last point. So that you are aware, this is the whole point of this, like, just so you are aware. It just is getting frustrating to work so hard. And y'all, I'm telling you, it's not, if I'm that frustrated, I can only imagine you waiting. And imagine there's a lot of backlog. So imagine you've been waiting for your VAWA case 4 or 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years, and only to now be told at the end of the day that or for your case to be denied simply because of a document you submitted, in spite of you having, all kinds of your very airtight evidence of abuse or evidence of good faith, but then your case is denied just because of the document you submitted as proof of termination of your previous marriage. So do yourself a favor, do your attorney a favor, and first of all, before you submit anything, know that what you're submitting is even what you're supposed to submit in the first place. Understand the type of marriage you did. If you did not have a civil marriage, meaning you didn't get married in the church, you didn't get married at the registry, then you've got no business submitting the decree and decree absolute at the end of the day. If you had a customary marriage, please stick to an affidavit. If you had an Islamic marriage, stick to an affidavit. Even customary court now, they're probing and investigating that. So just make things a lot easier for yourself. And if your a divorce document from Nigeria was genuine, then it's nothing to worry about. Just make sure that it was genuine. And that's all sure with people. You know, I'm hoping I know I probably got really tense now, but it just gets frustrating when you work so hard, and then it comes back and it's like, just because of a document. So hopefully that helps. And like I said, this video is going to be off, so you guys can go back and watch that. All right, let's get to as many questions as we can possibly take. Hi, Miss Tor, how are you? Hello. General information, no, nothing specific to anyone's case, just general responses. Okay. I do sound much better because Tuesday was just horrible. Still don't know where I got a cold from, but it's okay. Hi, Steve. Teach is fine. My baby boy is fine. He started 10th grade today. I cannot believe he's going to be 15 by God's grace in two weeks. Still a long way to go with custody, but I digress. But anyway, okay. Hello, Miss Christy from Maryland. Miss Christy from Maryland. Taiwo from Maryland. Okay. It says Christy, but Taiwo. All right. Christy, Taiwo, Christy. Hello from Ohio. Hello, Miss Ahmed. How are you? Hey, Miss Collins. How are you doing? Happy Thursday to you as well. Hello, Mr. Joseph. How are you? I'm stuck with that for 3 years. Stuck with what? Okay. Mr. Prince Epidemic, thank you. Thank you for joining as well. All right. Is it safe? So anything about travel, questions about travel? Hello, Finance Sandy. Ask your attorney or consult with one. I'm not going to, if you're not inclined, I only answer travel questions for my clients. I got married in December 2024. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Miss D. I think I talked about her on Tuesday, filing her N-400 after she had been told she had to wait for another 5 years. And it was a very nasty denial, allegation of fraud marriage. It was just a lot. And just to know now that almost 2 years later, she's now scheduled for oath ceremony. I couldn't be happier. I told her, like, listen, let's get a notice. If it's a date that I'm available, I wouldn't mind going down to California to be her guest. It was just, that's one of the most rewarding cases I've ever worked on. It was just, yeah. Okay. And congrats to Mr. Yu, whose case was also approved yesterday. We filed his marriage case in June. Yeah. And interview was 2 days ago and approved yesterday. So basically that's true. It didn't even occur to me. Approved marriage case in 2 months. USCIS is still working. They're still doing stuff. It's just we can hear more about the mass deportation thing, which is a thing. It's a real thing. But they're still working. I thought it's just like I watch in. Wow, I thought it's just like I watch in films. You thought it's what it's like you watching films. Okay. I got married in December 2024. Then an active F1 visa. Then later filed my AOS concurrently in May. I received a notice of interview scheduled for August. Okay, is this looking good or there's a problem? I can't speculate to your case. I have no clue about your case, but just like I just talked about a case that was filed in June and they had an interview yesterday on Tuesday. So I would anticipate that it's not a problem as long as there's nothing wrong with your history. Okay. What if it's genuine but not already in the United States at the time of divorce and have a pending case based on marriage? What if it's genuine but was already in the United States at the time of divorce? Okay. If you were NATO, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The person who's required to have been domiciled in Nigeria at the time of the divorce, not throughout the whole time, at the time that it was filed, when it was filed and all that, then that's the petitioning spouse. So if you were the respondent in that divorce proceedings, you're not required to have been domiciled. It's the petitioner that's required to have been domiciled. So I hope that answers your question. All right, let's go to TikTok. Not come to Instagram. What's the time? 97. Lick Finger sent me my snail, peppered snail. Y'all, I'm thinking of pepper snail as I am because I actually need my excuses. I need the pepper to decongest my sinuses. But my kids also love her Scotch egg. We just ordered Scotch egg, I think the week before I went to New York. And by the time I came back, my oldest kid was by himself. So, what the law? I'm like, So, like, well, can we get more? Money doesn't fall from the tree. I don't think kids understand that, but hey. So, that was my excuse to also order. So, if you haven't ordered from Lick Finger before, you're missing out, I'm telling you. I applied for green card for my mom. I did change to engagement. I applied to green card for my mom. I did change. I don't understand your question. I don't understand the question. Please do not repeat your questions. If you repeat it, I will skip the question. Thank you. I wish I could go to work every day and don't have to do anything. So who goes to work every day and doesn't have to do anything? I'm not really sure I understand what you mean. Anyway. Can you stay in the U.S. and divorce your husband in Nigeria? If you have established residency in the United States, then the best case scenario is reach out to if the spouse is still in Nigeria, reach out to them and say, hey, listen, we're living together. You've moved on with your life. I've moved on with my life. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, you don't tell him that, but that's the whole point. Yeah, and you're interested in the bubble. Just move on with the bubble guy and tell him, hey, listen, so we can be free of each other. I'm going to send you documents to sign. Do you have any problem with that? I don't see any reason why he would have a problem with that. So that's the best case scenario. If you cannot find or you can't locate your former spouse, then contact a family law attorney in your state. Let them do service by publication. I think usually runs for 4 weeks in each state. After that, nobody responds. Go to court, file a motion with default judgment, end of story, get your divorce. That's it. What should the suit number be? So, online, this, like I said, the video is going to be on YouTube and on Facebook. So just go once we're done, you can replay that. Can a decree EC be reissued because of mistake? They can. Oh, okay. So someone says, what is the solution if you have all these issues? Well, if you have all the issues that I just mentioned in your decree, in your divorce decree EC and decree absolute, more, but it's not going to, I don't know what the explanation you're going to give is going to be where you're not fixing all these issues in one document. No, you're just better off just withdrawing your case and starting again. Because especially if you're the petitioning spouse. So, but if it's just one case, say for instance, let's see, what example can I use? And it's still discretion. It's a 50-50 chance at best. But let's say the suit number, rather than 2025, they put 25. You can always argue that it's still the same as 2025 and get a verification letter from the court, whatever states you're in. And you can authenticate it with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, have it also authenticated by the Nigerian consulate, and hope for the best. It's not foolproof kind of thing, but that's the route that you can go. You're welcome. Hey, Miss Esther, how are you? Absolutely. I got my green card on the spot. Congratulations, but no updates yet on web page. It's been a week. Should we be concerned? I mean, it's been a week. There's no concern about 1 week. Now that my decree is online and verifiable, I think is what you mean. Can I resubmit the divorce decree? No, what you need to do is to sit down with a lawyer and have a consultation, first of all, so you can understand what happened in your previous case. Okay, so if I need you to repeat your question, I'll have to skip to it. My lawyer. Anything about processing time, go on uscis.gov/processing time. Okay, my parents waiting for embassy interview time for green card or travel ban. Okay, immediate relatives are not going to be affected by the travel ban. Immediate relatives are parents, spouses and on minor under the age of 21 children of citizens, they will not be affected by the travel ban. But spouses of relatives of green card holders most likely will be affected by the travel ban. So, okay, let's go to Instagram. Sorry, probably not to Facebook. I just want us to win, people. I want us to win. It's just it's and I call it an epidemic because it's like, and like I said, the brief that I just sent, I was like, I can hear people. Open Nigerians mean that what you see Nigerian and you just say, oh no, it's got to be fraudulent document. Some noise come back and like, okay, it doesn't conform with the material because it's like, what exactly doesn't conform? Because I'm looking at document like, okay, so besides just being Nigerian, what else? There's something you would find and just hold, call the bluff. But there's some that I'll see as like, okay, or you've got a reason, like for instance, the marriage is broken down, hereby dissolved due to no more love. There's no such thing as no more love with under the Matrimonial Causes Act. There's just no such reason. No, it's not going to work. Obviously there's no more love in that marriage, but that's not going to work for USCIs. You don't listen to anybody but you. Well, what can I say? I was talking to one of my friends today, very, very good friend. I mean, if I could clone the guy, he's my ideal guy. And I tell him that because, I'm mouthing like that, but he's married, so his wife knows. It just, anyway. So, but he says he's going to keep praying for me. It's okay. So it is what it is. We are happy to make it to the end of the week. I see that. Hello, Mr. Henry. How are you? As everybody's kids starting school in the South, my eyes are getting watery again. I have to breathe through the mouth. Okay, let's see. Love the earrings. I love being cute. Thank you. But I think I got them when we went to New Orleans. The guy was selling. I love things that are very artsy, very different. I love things that are very, very earthy, natural. That's just me. Handmade, crafted, artisan kind of thing, where it's not just mass produced. Oh yes, thank you, Miss Anna Sanctuary. He completely forgot. So we are running a consultation special on this 30 minutes option. 30 minutes consultation fee is normally $140. I'm surprised I haven't changed that in 2 years now, but it's $140 normally for the month of August, which is the birthday promotion. It is $115 for 30 minutes. So, I mean, $25 may not be a whole lot for a lot of people. That's okay. But we're seeing quite a number of people schedule, which is helpful. So we are running that 30 minutes special for the month of August. Rather than 140 for 30 minutes, it's 115. Thanks, Ms. Anna Sanctuary, for reminding me. Okay. It is from Chicago. Hello, baby. Okay, let's see. About the 1 million times, because it's frustrating. If it was a case where you can just pick up and file something and they're adjudicated within 2 months, and if it doesn't work and you can start all over again, and it's just 2 months, fine. But for instance, the VAR case takes upwards of 3.5, 4 years. So imagine just waiting all that time only to be told, well, we can approve your case because your divorce document from Nigeria is crappy. That's just a waste of time and money, and yeah. Let's see. Please read. We can't see your screen. Yeah, that's what you can't. There's nothing else sharing on Instagram. You would have had to go to YouTube or Facebook. Hey, Miss Sophia, how are you? We've missed you here as well. I miss you live a lot. Hey, we're grateful whenever you take some time to come back from time to time. My job requires to travel domestically. Okay, anything about travel, I'm not answering that. Posted today. Can a filed divorce that was withdrawn affect an I think you mean an I-751. So I guess your question is, can the fact that a divorce was filed, even though the proceedings was stopped, can the fact that that was filed initially not affect you getting the I-751? If that's your question, it would depend on if USCIS is aware, and you being truthful. So if they get wind of there was a divorce complaint filed, that for them signifies that there may be trouble in the marriage. So they may make an unannounced visit or invite you back for an interview to see why it was withdrawn, what's going on. So as long as you're being honest and truthful, and hopefully you have a lawyer, but it would just depend on the history of your case. What is happening with VA applications? My application is already 36 months and nothing yet. This USCIS suspend, VA applications are taking, as of today, it's taking an average of 42 and a half months. So it's not 3 years, it's 42 and a half months for adjudication. Exactly. Thank you. Looking for the secretary said that. I see you guys having time in New York. We did. My baby boy wanted to go to New York. We did. Because all you internet ends is like, when you sit again for some vacation, let's all vacation. Say, from Lord love you fly. Because, and no, the daddy didn't give me money. No, the daddy doesn't give me money for vacation. I do vacation for my kids by myself. So tell my share a job until you like to travel. I just feel no man, yeah, he didn't go on his vacation. Keep going. But yeah, it was fun. We are looking for 47 approvals this month in this amazing love. Amen. I think we've gotten quite a bit. EAD's green card. In the first 1 week, God has been immensely faithful. Oath ceremony scheduled. 204C, I-131. God has been faithful so far, and He remains faithful. Hi, Miss Khadija. How are you? Amen. God's favorite. Amen. Shani, amen. Stand in agreement with you. Amen. We stand in agreement together. I used my niece's address for my I-130 because my son was in the process of buying his home. I currently stay with him. Must not notify USCIS. If that's now your residence, your current residence, then yes. Okay. Let's see. All right. We talked about how my birthday too. When is your birthday, Yabo? Thank you, Mr. Abdulaziz. How are you? Wait, it's not my birthday yet. That's going to be exactly 2 weeks from now. We internet, yeah, you internet aunties, internet need to do better. Yes, like minding your own darn business. Let's start with that, because I've taken it personal. You all should see how this internet aunties like Finance Shandy and in the sanctuary and Isabella like slow your roll. Oh God, about them I defend him. No, but she defend TJ. Thank you for answering. You're absolutely 23rd. Oh, 6-1. Oh, so you're also a Leo baby. That's 2 days after my birthday. Happy birthday in advance. Hello, Mr. Chinedu. How are you? Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's good part. I already answered that. On the NISI, does it have to mention leave of court? If the marriage was less than 2 years when you filed for divorce, then it would mention leave of court, or it would have a separate order for leave of court, meaning that you granted leave of court to file. Or sometimes I've seen it where it would be included as part of the NISI. So great question. Yes. I hope that answers your question. USCI says RFP for VAD case after 4 years. So what's your question? Okay. All right. Yeah. So in spite of my nasal congestion, I just needed, because today was just heavy for me. I'm sure you can tell. I don't. It gets me. The whole day just gets crappy when something as seemingly simple as a divorce document becomes an issue for something that's been going on for so long. And again, I have to be very clear, and I can tell my clients I don't authenticate documents. Have I seen cases where this, for instance, I had a VAR case a year ago where it was denied. We filed an appeal, and the same irreconcilable differences was the reason why it was denied. Filed an appeal. The Administrative Appeals Office agreed with us, remanded the case back to USCIS for them to approve, and it was approved on the same irreconcilable differences. The same Administrative Appeals Office, on the same kind of reason, has agreed with USCIS saying that there's nothing like irreconcilable differences. My point in that is this: God shows mercy to whom he decides to show mercy. One spouse uses that divorce document 2-3 years ago, or even in another field office, no issue. The other ex-spouse uses it in another field office, they get annoyed. He shows mercy to whom he decides to show mercy. But if you can avoid that altogether, that's going to be the best practice, really. So, but I hope this helps. If we can be of help to you in your immigration case, we would love to be part of your journey. 334-341-4475. We are going to win together. I had one of my clients, when I said his case was denied, I emailed him this morning. I said, I hope you're doing getting in. It was just being honest, like, I'm not fine. And I said, understandably so. It's we're living in uncertain times now, and even for those who have pending cases, with the new policy that came up on Friday, came out on Friday, with a pending case, unlike before, where a pending adjustment of status almost guarantees that you wouldn't end up in removal proceedings. But with the new policy, they're saying basically, if you have no status, then we can issue an NTA, which we're seeing them do. And now someone asked me yesterday, and that's why we did a post yesterday about, does a prima facie determination in a valid case, does it protect you from deportation? It does not. It does not. It used to be a basis for us to go to court and terminate proceedings, but in spite of all of that, we know that God remains God who sits upon the throne of grace. He says there's no reason for us to carry our burden. He says, cast your cares upon the Lord. Let him be the one to lift that burden off of our head, off of our shoulder. It's easier said than done, yes, but that's where faith comes into play. That in spite of what's going on in my current circumstances, I will keep faith, and I will keep my focus on God, because he's able to do exceedingly abundantly. He is able to turn situations around. He is able to calm the storm on your behalf. You've got to do your part. But if your case is pending, listen, I have cases that are like, oh, Lord, we're going to pray. This case in point 2 days ago, that's one of the cases that I was kind of like concerned about, the Nigerian divorce decree. But here we are. So you just never know. God remains God. God remains God. He is God all by himself. Hey, Miss Abena. So just do your own due diligence and leave the rest in his hands, his capable hands. There is no reason to put the weight on you, just knowing that you've got a Father in heaven who is willing to take the burden off of you and to make life a lot easier. So Thank you for always coming in and tuning in. I'm hopeful that this helps and provides information to everyone. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good weekend, y'all. Bye. Bye, everybody.